Hey guys, Zach here, and today I'm going to be redoing this overgrown ecosystem bowl. Inside of this bowl, I've got a large variety of plants, and they are all doing quite good. They're actually thriving in here along with a couple of shrimp. However, as you can see, this bowl has just gotten overgrown and it is just not the best, so I want to redo it and make it a little nicer of a tank. Now the first step in redoing this tank is getting it back to the bare bones, and in order to start that, I'm going to remove all of the plants and just place them in a bucket next to me until I'm going to replant them, and it's perfectly fine to store them like this for short periods of time. With all of the plants removed, I would have removed any hardscape as well, but in this tank there actually was none to begin with, so now I'm left with just this substrate layer. I did remove most of the water, but I did leave some inside the substrate just to keep the beneficial bacteria alive as I am starting the new scape in this bowl. For the scape in this tank, I want to keep it relatively simple because I have found that small scapes are better when they are just a little simpler, so the entire scape is going to be based around this singular rock. While it wasn't my intention to keep this setup solely as these two rocks in an Iwagumi style, I just found that any wood I added either took up too much room or just didn't look quite right in this small tank, and I wanted to try and leave as much space as I could for planting. With planting in mind, I did want to add in some detail stones to break up the transition between rock and sand, but I didn't want to add in anything too big, which might get rid of areas that I could actually plant in, so I landed on these smaller, sharp gravel stones, and I think they look quite good. With the detail stones in, I was ready to fill up the tank and move on to planting. For the planting in this tank, I wanted to keep it very simple and just try and reuse all of the plants that came out of it before. Now, because there wasn't any hardscape before, there were a bunch of different types of plants, and I tried to get every single last one back into the tank. After planting, I wanted to add the shrimp back into this tank as soon as possible. That's why I left the beneficial bacteria in the substrate. As you can see, after planting, it is quite cloudy, so I just want to let this tank settle and the shrimp settle, so I'll catch you guys back in 24 hours. 24 hours in and the shrimp have settled. They did explore the tank in the first few hours they were added, but now they've chilled out and are just grazing on every surface in the tank. While filming the shrimp, I noticed this little guy and a couple of his brothers and sisters got into the tank. Not really a big deal, I'm not too concerned, and especially when you see how chill this guy is on his little frog bit. Now, I find this is important to mention that I added in all of this rock to try and add calcium to the water slowly for the shrimps to ensure that their shell integrity is there. I didn't want a dose for calcium because I find it's very hard to balance in small tanks, and one misstep can lead to killing off the entire tank, and I find the best way is to add it as slowly as possible through rocks leaching into the water. This same leaching effect can be achieved with coral and old snail shells as well if you don't want to add in rocks to your tank. So that is everything for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you have enjoyed, please consider subscribing, and I will see you guys next time. Peace.